Hello, I'm Betsy Ross, and welcome to this edition of Healthline. Do you know about the many programs and services provided by the Northern Kentucky Health Department? Well, today we'll talk with Dr. Richard Shook. He will explain how our health district is serving the residents here. And Steve Devine will bring us up to date on disaster preparedness. We're pleased to announce that today's program is being sponsored by the Northern Kentucky Health Department. That's all next and more on Healthline, presented by the Northern Kentucky Medical Society. Linking people with resources to promote, achieve, and maintain a healthier community. That's the mission of the Northern Kentucky Health Department. And joining us today to talk about the many programs and services available there is Dr. Richard Shook. He is the past chair of the District Board of Health. Doctor, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Ken.
We hear a lot about the health department. What exactly does the health department do, and what area do you cover?
We are an independent district. We serve about 400,000 people. We cover the Campbell County, Boone County, Kenton County, and Grant County. Those four counties form a district board of health, of which the judges, fiscal court judges, and their designees, and the medical representatives throughout the communities serve on the board. That board is funded by local taxes, state and federal funds, and also by grants acquired by the local Board of Health.
And you have offices in each of these counties?
We do. We have offices in each of the counties, and that is our main source of providing services and programs. One of the things that we're really proud of is the WIC program. WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. And what that program is a voucher program for food for pregnant women and their children. And we feel that a healthy child and it makes for a healthy community, so that's very important to us. We also do various screening and educational programs. We screen for diabetes, we screen for heart disease, we screen for cancer, HIV, and we're proud of those also. We also have a women's cancer screening that we're especially concerned about because of the problems that women run into as they age. So this is for the age group 40 to 64. And what it is they're eligible for an annual exam if they want it, and they come to on a designated day to one of the local health departments. And at that time they will get a pelvic exam, a pap smear, and a breast exam. So they're being screened for cancer that way. Also, they can get a mammogram at that time. So that is real important for us.
You have those screenings, but you also have immunizations that are also available.
Yes.
And it's especially important now because kids are going back to school and they need some of those.
Yes, it is. We have the immunizations for children, and then we also have for adults, we have adult measles vaccines, we have flu shots, and then we also have polio vaccinations for them. But with the immunizations, one thing that we found out is that there are other things that are needed. There are 10 vaccinations that are needed before you enter school in Kentucky. Kentucky this year has no new vaccinations that they require. However, there are some that they recommend. Those they recommend are second dose varicella or chickenpox vaccine, tetanus vaccine, diphtheria, and pertussis. Also, if it's the first time a child is entering college, it's also recommended that they receive a vaccination for meningitis. Also, one of the other recommended ones is the HPV vaccine, which is for cervical cancer, and that's given to young women. And also the hepatitis A vaccine.
Those are kind of some of the services that you offer. You also offer, as you mentioned, some programs for healthier lifestyles, healthier living. One issue that it seems as if we've dealt with for decades now is smoking, quitting smoking. Some of the programs that you have to help people do that.
Yes, we actually have a quit smoking workshop, which covers a lot of issues and helps people really learn how to stop smoking. We also have some smoking cessation programs. We realize that that's important for the health of the community, and so we actually are promoting a smoke-free workplace and smoke-free restaurants.
You have a neat little program for kids, for those, and there is still a handful of youngsters who actually do walk to school every day. You have a neat little program that keeps them safe and really teaches them how to be safe as they walk.
Yes, and that's called Safe Routes to School. And this is one of the programs that we initiated that we're really proud of because we think it does a couple things for us. What it really consists of is an adult with 10 children that walk a route to and from school. Instead of taking the motorized vehicles, the bus or a car, instead we're having the children walk. And we feel this is really very good because it does two things. Number one, a child has a safe way to get to school. Mm-hmm. And number two, they're walking, they're exercising, so some of the childhood obesity problems are, dealt with in that way.
And that's certainly a problem that we face all the time. Talk about a lot of these services and the programs, the immunizations, things like that you offer. What about the cost?
Well, the cost of those programs really it's pretty cost effective. I mean, if we're stopping the spread of infectious diseases within our communities, at what cost does it to have people miss work and have children miss school? And so it's very cost effective.
One thing that I think that we know the health department for, maybe the thing that we run into the health department every day connected with, is restaurants. You do a lot of restaurant inspections to make sure that when we go out to eat, that we are safe and that our food is safe.
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, that's one of the major things that we do in the health department. That's under our environmental and safety division. And what we inspect approximately 1,100 restaurants, school cafeterias, nursing homes. We also do snack shops. We do food booths at festivals. Mm-hmm. So we cover a lot of those food issues. But we also cover other issues, too. We cover hotels. We cover swimming pools, tattoo parlors, and body piercing shops. So there are a wide variety of issues that we cover there. We also, prior to the sale of a piece of property, if there are septic systems on that property, mm-hmm. we do inspect those also. We also can address lead poisoning, lead paints in a home, and also radon in a home.
So when you go into a restaurant, what do you look for? We always think about what's clean, but what do you look for as an inspector?
Well, I don't do that myself.
No, not you.
But our people will look for how the food is handled and how clean it is, and are they handling, for instance, chicken and then handling something else right afterwards. So, and things also have to be stored properly. If they need to be refrigerated, they can't be left sitting out. There's all those types of issues. Cleanliness also.
A lot of programs, a lot of services available. If we want more information, where do we go?
The best place to go is to the website, www.nkyhealth.org. And all our services and programs are listed in there, and it'll even show in there what it costs to have the Board of Health to use our services. One thing that we've always considered is, should anyone ever be denied service because of their inability to pay? And our answer to that is no. Everyone should receive the service that they need. As a matter of fact, we have a sliding scale that we use. If someone does have money and they can't afford it, we use the federal and state guidelines for that. But we never turn anyone away because they can't afford to come to get our services.
Dr. Shook, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
That is covering a wide variety of health issues being addressed by the health department. But one of the areas that we didn't touch on is disaster preparedness. We'll be talking later in the program to Steve Devine of the health department about this important issue. And after this break, we'll be back with Medical Minutes.
We all take different paths in life. At Central Bank, we understand this. With a comprehensive selection of financial services and expert advice to meet all your needs, Central Bank is there to guide you down your path in life, wherever it may take you. Central Bank, showing you the way.
practice does make perfect. Something she'll understand more and more over time. Like how experience matters when choosing a heart program. At St. Elizabeth Medical Center, we've performed over 10,000 open heart surgeries and saved countless lives. Numbers like that add up to something she can understand today, and that is that her dad's back in her life. St. Elizabeth Medical Center, how medicine should be.
And now today's Medical Minutes. A new study published in the Archives of Internal Medicine reveals that soy nuts may be a good snack for women. Soy nuts are dry roasted soybeans. 1/2 cup contains 8 grams of fat and 240 calories. In the study, women replaced some of the protein in their healthy diet with soy nut snacks. The researchers found that the women's blood pressure had dropped after including soy nuts in their daily diet. More studies will be needed to confirm these results and to discover exactly why soy nuts are effective. But at least these early findings show that soy foods may be a practical and an inexpensive way to reduce blood pressure in women. And now some local news. If you enjoy running or walking, then lace up your sneakers and help support a good cause. The 8th annual 5K Run Walk is in memory of Mary Stegman and will raise money for St. Elizabeth Hospice and the STARS program. It will take place Saturday, September the 8th. The funds that will be raised at this year's event will help support these worthwhile programs. So ask your friends and family for pledges or sponsorships and help make a difference right here in our community. For more information about this event or to register, contact St. Elizabeth Medical Center or visit their website. That's our Medical Minutes for this edition of Healthline, and we'll be right back after this break.
Don't get eaten alive by credit card debt. Don't get eaten alive by collection agencies. If you have at least $5,000, $10,000, or $50,000 or more in debt, you need to stop the financial bleeding. So call Debt Group now. Debt Group doesn't work for the credit card companies. Debt Group's national network of attorneys works for you and negotiates your debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Now you can stop those harassing collection calls once and for all. Having a Debt Group attorney in your corner protecting your rights will give you the peace of mind you deserve. Eliminate your credit card bills, medical bills, eliminate your personal loans, and we can reduce it all into one affordable monthly payment. You can avoid bankruptcy and save thousands of dollars in the process. Call Debt Group now and don't get eaten alive. Call now for a free debt reduction consultation. Call 888-646-6318. 888-646-6318.
Our daily news programs bring us stories about tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, and of course the threat of terrorist attack is now a constant concern. But is Northern Kentucky prepared for any of these disasters? Our next guest, Steve Devine, is the Director of Environmental Health and Safety at the Northern Kentucky Health Department. Steve, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
We hear about these horrible things, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a chemical leak, or, of course, as we mentioned, terrorism always is in the back of our minds. It's tough to prepare for everything, but how does the health department at least get ready for something like this?
Sure. Well, we're just one part of a large group of professionals that do this type of work. We train and do a lot of planning for these type of events. And honestly, a lot of things we do on a day-in, day-out basis cover some of these things as well. But we work closely with emergency management personnel, fire departments, police, utility companies, the infrastructure that's really going to be important in time of an emergency, as well as public officials and doctors and hospitals as well.
Let's talk about kind of case by case. For example, if there's a natural disaster, sometimes a lot of people have to be vaccinated very quickly. How do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah, well, that's a very important part, and it's also tough when you think about how many people we have in our area. But basically what we do is we have plans set up so we have points of distribution, dispensing sites basically, where people would go and be directed which ones to go to based on where they live or where they work so that they could get either medications or vaccinations. We have trained professional staff that would do that. It's also very important that we have some of our volunteers that hopefully we would have trained that would also be able to take care of this type of situation. We have nurses and epidemiologists as well as other branches of our department to work on all these type of issues.
We talk about hearing these stories on the news, but how do I know, if I live in northern Kentucky, how do I know that something is a disaster situation that I need to take action, whether it means evacuating the area or going to get a vaccination? How do I know that it's time to take cover or take control, take charge of the situation?
Right. Well, basically the way we try to get our information out would be multi-pronged. Of course, we've got a web page and we post information on that. We're also going to work closely with things such as the 911 system where they can do reverse calling. So actually, you'll get a recorded message. It could call your house and tell you what the issue is and what you may need to do. Work closely with the media, print as well as television, obviously, and radio to get that information out. And our community partners, we've got volunteers that are citizens that also can kind of work in their own subdivision or neighborhood to get the word out, as well as working with some of the businesses so that we could get most information out as quickly as possible.
And you mentioned about some of your partners, and we'll talk about the volunteers and how important they are in just a minute, but national partners, when it comes to something like a disaster situation, how do you call in and who do you call on a national level to help out?
Sure. Well, we're involved in the planning as well as in an actual event through partners at the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the FDA, the USDA. And most of those contacts we're going to make through our state Department of Public Health offices and also working with emergency management locally and through the state office. And so we're involved quite a bit with some of the federal offices as well as the local ones, even Homeland Security, obviously, in a lot of these type of events.
And you practice this. It's not something that just comes up and you try to scramble and follow the textbook. You practice these scenarios all the time.
Absolutely. We do tabletop exercises, which is really a bunch of the pertinent players sitting around a table and trying to go over what would happen in the case of a particular situation. We also do actual hands-on disaster training. We had a big one in November of last year where we actually practiced dispensing oral medications, antibiotics in this case, to our first responders as well as to the general public. It went very well. It was involved a lot of planning. It was done elsewhere in the state, and it was very successful. We got good reviews from the CDC about how it was done.
And you go through the whole thing. You have the cots out there, you set up tents, you really make it act as if it were a real disaster.
Absolutely. We practice the traffic flow in the parking lot, the flow of people inside of the areas where we're going to have to screen them and also get them through to the sites where they can get to dispense their drugs. In this case, what we really try to do is what would it take in order to do it in a real event, try to factor in those things. Obviously, it's a little more ideal than if it was a real situation, but at least it gives us a hands-on idea of what it would look like, and especially our staff, ours as well as volunteers, of what it might look like, what their role might be.
You talk about the role of the staff. We mentioned the volunteers earlier. How important are volunteers to your efforts?
They are very important. If you imagine, we've got close to 400,000 people in our area. We have roughly 150 employees at the health department. We're not going to be able to do it all. So it's very important we get volunteers from all walks of life. We need professionals, whether it's doctors, nurses, EMTs, those type of trained professionals, as well as the general public. We're going to need help with just getting forms out, getting information out, traffic flow, those type of things. So it's very important that people come from all walks of life.
But even I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I don't have any health background. I can still help?
Absolutely. We can train you. We train some people to be team leaders, and they can kind of pass that information on to other citizens, as well as firsthand training that individuals can get. And we really want everybody to be involved. The more volunteers we have that we can count on in the case of emergency, the more successful it's going to be. And you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse or have some type of medical training to be helpful. We've got a role for everyone.
And how do I find out?
Well, you can go to our webpage, nkyhealth.org, or you can contact us at the local health department. Our direct line is 859-341-4151, or you can talk to your emergency management personnel, and they'll put you in contact with us or any of their own programs they have locally.
Well, Steve, I guess it's something that we hope that we never have to use, but it's always a good thing to know that it's there indeed in case we need it. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we'll be right back with House Calls after this break.
For some of us, retirement is today. For others, it's down the road. But wherever you may be on your path in life, we at Central Bank are here to guide you. With a comprehensive selection of financial services and expert advice, we'll help you meet all your needs for today, for tomorrow, and for your future. Central Bank, showing you the way.
Practice does make perfect. Something she'll understand more and more over time. Like how experience matters when choosing a heart program. At St. Elizabeth Medical Center, we've performed over 10,000 open heart surgeries and saved countless lives. Numbers like that add up to something she can understand today, and that is that her dad's back in her life. St. Elizabeth Medical Center, how medicine should be.
I just want you to have a full, beautiful life.
Diane and Mandy as mother and daughter.
Nice dress.
Jennifer Garner's recovering from a tragic loss, but wait, it's kind of a comedy.
Bang, huh?
And Leo's a tough guy in an adventure that won him an Oscar nomination. I'm Steve Oldfield with a look at some great options now showing on Insight's Video on Demand. Because I said so, Mandy Moore is dealing with an overbearing mother played by Diane Keaton, not to mention drooling dates who are out for her heart. In Catch and Release, Jennifer Garner bounces back from tragedy in a movie that ends up being a fun ride.
To me, I feel like the catch is something can come up in your life that you don't expect, that's a risk, and you can either reach out and grab it or you can let it go.
Also ready on demand, the movie that scored Leonardo DiCaprio and co-star Jaimin Hunsu Oscar nominations, the powerful story Blood Diamond. Just one of many great movies now available with Insight's Video on Demand.
Our House Calls segment gives you, the viewer, an opportunity to ask some questions about your medical concerns. We have doctors from the Northern Kentucky Medical Society ready to answer those questions. Our first question comes from Jackie in Fort Thomas. The question says, I've been hearing about how important it is for us to put sunscreen on when we are outdoors. My 2 children are 8 months and 4 years old. How young can you begin putting sunscreen on children? And how long can young children safely stay out in the sun? We asked Dr. Linda Gooch to answer this question.
Well, Jackie, the ideal would be not to have any sun exposure between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Those are the most dangerous hours with the highest UV rays. If they are out, try to have them in protective clothing. Hats with a brim, baseball caps don't really give enough protection for the ears or the back of the neck. Also, lightweight long sleeve shirts and pants would be preferable. If they are in sunscreen, out in the sun and you need to protect them, you can put on sunscreen starting at 6 months. And this will not give them any danger. But again, the best thing is to try to keep them out of direct sunlight, especially between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If they are out, try to keep repeating the sunscreen if they're greater than 6 months old every hour. If they're playing and sweating or if they're in the pool and getting wet, to make sure that they are protected.
Dr. Tom Bunnell answers this question from Rose in Petersburg. Recently, I've been short of breath, and sometimes I get a wheezing sound. I've never had this before. I'm 37 years old. Could I be developing asthma?
Rose, that's a very good question, and it's a fairly common symptom. I think I need to answer the question with a few questions of my own. First of all, I need to know whether you smoke. Second, I need to know whether your shortness of breath is all of the time or just when you're experiencing the noise in your chest. And third, I need to know how long, you've been having trouble. Yes, this could be asthma, especially with the rattling in your chest. But more significantly, I think you might be dealing with something called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is a far more serious illness and really needs evaluation. So, do see your physician, get tested, find out what you're dealing with, and get the proper medication for it, because there are medications that will help all of these conditions. But most of all, you need to be evaluated, and you shouldn't wait too long to do it.
Our final question comes from Millie in Bromley. My doctor told me recently that I will need to have my gallbladder taken out, and he mentioned that he will do a laparoscopic procedure. Why does he want to do it this way? We went to Dr. Heidi Murley for this answer.
Well, Millie, most gallbladders are actually taken out laparoscopically now, and there is significant advantage to the patient to using that technique. In experienced hands, gallbladder removal laparoscopically is safe and speeds your recovery time. Most of the time, patients can be scheduled for outpatient surgery and perhaps go home the same day of the procedure. The incisions will be very small, usually 3 or 4, and most of the time you can be back at work in a week or 2. This is significant improvement over the recovery time from an old-fashioned open procedure. Remember, though, that open gallbladder surgery is sometimes still necessary. Your doctor will talk to you about what the risks are for needing that open procedure, and if so, what recovery time to expect. Good luck.
Thank you, Doctor, and thanks to all our doctors, Dr. Linda Gooch, Dr. Tom Bunnell, and Dr. Heidi Murley for their professional medical advice. Well, we've come to the end of this month's show, so we would like to thank our guests, Dr. Richard Shook and Steve Devine, and a very special thank you to our program sponsor, the Northern Kentucky Health Department, for its participation in this edition of Healthline. Now, if you missed any of the information listed on today's program, or if you have a question that you would like answered in our House Call segment, be sure to go to the Northern Kentucky Medical Society website and just click on the Healthline button. We hope you will join us again next month for a brand new program when we will learn how to help our kids beat the back-to-school blues. And Rita Heikenfeld shares some important information about sports nutrition for our young athletes. Goodbye for now. I'm Betsy Ross, and this has been Healthline presented by the Northern Kentucky Medical Society.
Doink. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, your money may not be safe even in here. Not even a bank vault can protect it. The IRS can get money out of your bank account to pay your IRS bill. If this happened to you, would you be able to pay your other bills? For the past 14 years, I've saved my clients millions of dollars. Don't be another IRS victim. Call now.
Call for a free and confidential tax analysis. Call 1-800-524-9559.
Everyone loves Insight's bundled cable, high-speed internet, and phone. And when our customers speak, we listen. Due to overwhelming response, Insight needs to expand its direct sales team. If you have a positive attitude and can work independently and are interested in a dynamic outside sales position with outstanding earning potential and excellent benefits, plus discounted services in your home, come grow with us. Apply in person at our Florence office or send your resume to Insight.
So, Mrs. White, you said you're a satellite customer, correct? You know, I love talking to customers. That's right, phone, broadband, and digital TV. 3 services, 1 company, 1 low price. Can satellite do that? 3 services, 1 low price. Even I can close a sale. So it's a go. Yes. Hello? Hello?